My first time watching We Stand Alone Together, the Band of Brothers documentary. Let's go ahead and watch this.
All I remember is a tremendous blast. Next thing I knew, I was laying on the ground in the snow, and I tried to get up. And when I tried to get up, only thing I could see were the broken ends of my legs. And I thought my legs were gone. Both femurs were shattered, and they were laying down here as I was in my back trying to raise my legs up. And I thought, I'm dead. I'm about to die. And then the next thing I thought of was my mother. I thought, what's she going to say? Because I was an only child.
Oh. Wow. To see the real footage. Wow. Easy Company.
My name is C. Carwood Lipton. I was born in Huntington, West Virginia.
Frederick T. Heiliger.
My name's J.B. Stokes. I was born close to Bonham, Texas.
Born and raised in Columbus, Ohio.
My nickname was Babe. And my mother, born and raised in South Philadelphia. The times were tough. Mom had 10 children, so you had to work to survive.
It was a real struggle because we came up in the Depression. Sometimes we live on a farm.
I saw people that really were hungry and had hard times.
We lived on a farm at the time. It was poor. Everybody was poor. That was the Depression.
I got a paper route, that $5 a month I made, something like that, But it was at least something.
On December 7th, 41, we're in a store and a guy, he says, the USA is in a war with Japan, and everything just went silent.
Yeah, that was after the bombing of Pearl Harbor.
Something was wrong with you if you weren't in the service in those days. It was just what you had to do.
Top kind of a unit or I wasn't going to be in the Army.
Life magazine had run an article on paratroopers sometime in early 1942, and it told about the training that they got, difficult physical requirements, and I just got interested in seeing if I couldn't become a paratrooper.
Nobody forced you to do this. You volunteered. And
Winners!
But once you got in there, you was proud to be. We was proud of our boots. We was proud of our shoulder patch. We was proud to be paratroopers.
You know these people that you're in service with. You know those people better than you will ever know anybody in your life. Comes when you start your training while that progresses.
Each man was like a heavyweight champion of world boxers.
Out of 100%, only 10% made
I
it.
thought I was going to die.
It'd be tough.
Oh,
We
wow.
marched 118 miles in 3 days.
the training I got gave me the confidence to go into battle.
Camp Takor.
And a lot of the training was to build you up physically and mentally.
Some of them lost as much as 40 pounds,
Wow.
but I didn't have nothing to lose. I weighed about 130. If I'd have lost 40 pounds, I wouldn't have been big enough to stay.
Couldn't keep up with them. You understand? They were good men, but they couldn't take that hard training. He had the cream of the cream.
Had to climb this mountain called Currahee every morning, run it up. If you couldn't do it, why, you'd end up in another unit.
As I understand, it means we stand alone together.
Oh, yeah.
It was really rough and tough going up and down.
And it didn't matter how hard they trained you and how tired you got. You would still go out on your own and run the mountain at night.
Really?
Which was ridiculous because when you had to run it during the day, all you did was moan. And at night, you'd get a couple of guys and go up and do it on your own.
What?
We learned, all of us coming in from no experience in the Army at all.
I'm going to say this. I believe that the paratroopers of the 101st Airborne Division was as well trained as you could get a soldier to be.
We packed our own chutes for the first jump.
Came time to stand up and hook up, and we did.
Coming down is great.
It affects everybody different. Felt like a bird flying in the air.
Oh, no, he broke his foot.
That morning after breakfast, they marched us all out there to the airfield. There was a bunch of guys out there that already made their jump. And they was all hollering, "You're going to be sorry,"
You didn't want to be afraid, so you kept that out of your mind.
In those days, jumping out of an airplane is not like today. My first flight up, I jumped.
Well, foolishly, I didn't think it'd be so tough, but the first jump you make is not all that bad. You don't know what you're doing. It just seemed like when you step out the door, the chute just opened right then.
The door, I was British. I cannot remember leaving the plane. until after the chute opened up.
But it was quite a thrill. It was just like going on a roller coaster. You get off and you want to go right back on again.
The landing was the hardest part. Once I got out and the chute opened, I was happy as a lark. I was small, too, and I didn't hurt myself when I hit the ground. Some of the big ones hit the ground like a ton of, what's his name?
The thing you worried about most with your shoot, did you
What's
pack
his
it
name?
right? You'd pack it one day and jump the next day. You had all night to think about it.
What if you didn't pack it right?
All kinds of ideas of what you might have done wrong.
We made 5 jumps in the 3rd week there. Then you were a qualified paratrooper. Got your wings pinned on.
Wow.
And
The men were trained, hardened, physically and mentally, and they were ready to jump. When you walk up that gangplank, you know you're gone. You know you're in the parachute troops. You're going to be jumping behind the enemy lines. What do you expect? That'll make anybody stand and search his soul for a few minutes.
We were ready, stationed in England for about a year before D-Day. We had a lot of maneuvers and parachute jumping.
They put us in a camp preparing us for D-Day. In other words, just about a week before D-Day, they put us in no liberties, no nothing.
They had guards around the marshalling area.
Wow.
So nobody could leave. That's when you felt that this is it. We did not know which day. We did not know where we were going to jump until we were locked in.
Wow.
They had debriefing.
This map, they made a scale model of the features of the land. They put in all the little buildings, all the bridges. We knew it by heart. We knew exactly where we were going to go.
So I was like, how do you remember?
Gliders hooked up to the planes.
Had no idea that there was that much hardware. So there was no question about it. We knew it was going to be big.
This is it.
we had confidence in our leaders. All the plans and preparations that had taken place before. We were confident and calm.
We carried everything that we thought we could carry, and we were loaded. A lot of them were very scared. I was scared too, but probably in a different way that other people were. As long as I was in that plane and they were going to get me there safely out of that plane, that's all that I worried about.
At the time, I had no feeling whatsoever. Like I said, my feelings was for my brother who was killed at that time. That infuriated me to no end. And that's why I think they nicknamed me Wild Bill, because I did a lot of killing D-Day.
Wow.
The sky was pretty clear coming across the channel. At the door of the plane with my head out in the slipstream looking down, and I saw the thousands of craft ships down there in the channel, and I think that's when I first realized how large the invasion was.
And that's when the fireworks started.
Fireworks.
Black was
Moose.
terrible. It was like a July the 4th celebration 10 times over.
You compared this to fireworks, 4th of July.
Body, and you could hear it going brrr, like gravel hitting on the fender of a car.
That's why everybody wanted to get out of the plane as fast as they could.
But finally, the pilots, I'm just happened to read their minds is, okay, we got so much gas, and we're going to have to get back to England. So what are we going to do with all these guys back here? Give them the green light sometime.
Green light came on and everybody said, let's go.
Jumped up on a run and
Oh, this is
hit the
Compton.
static line with the hook and out the door. Got such an opening blast from the opening shot. It broke this chin strap that we had on his helmet liner, and that's when I lost this famous leg bag that everybody talks about just from the shock of the opening.
Call them leg bags. They got to be this big, and you keep stuffing everything you can get your hands on. It's supposed to weigh 10, 15 pounds. By the time you get done, it's 40 or 50 or 60 pounds. Everyone that jumped with a leg bag or supplies, they lost it.
It tore right off because we jumped at speeds of 150 miles.
I looked to see if my parachute was open, and you could see tracer bullets burning holes through the parachute.
And they told us that all you'll have to do, shove up to the door, throw that leg out, prop blast will hit it, and you're gone. Only I was gone out, and my leg was in.
Oh.
And I was hanging upside down, looking at everything down with my leg in the plane, and Paul rolled me out. Paul Rogers rolled me out.
I just helped him out. I just picked him up, threw him out, I guess. Had to get out.
Kind of spraying around in the air. The whoever the machine gunner was down there that was concentrating on me apparently was not a very good shot.
Not concentrating on
every
me.
direction.
There's some trees. There's a road. Try and slip to avoid the trees. Try and slip to avoid landing on the road.
And my chute fell across the power lines, and I hit that fence and fell into a farmer's garden. And that fence had glass in the top of it and cut me up and everything. But that didn't bother me. I was down.
And we wasn't anywhere close to where we were supposed to be. We didn't know where we were, so we headed that way to get down to the beach to find out where the outfit was.
We were running into Germans everywhere, but we had to hide.
And I lit in a tree. I had my trench knife, and I come down that tree like a monkey.
And there I was with a French knife and 6 candy bars in my pocket.
And that's 6 candy bars. Are you for real?
German army, you know.
4 guys that were with me on D-Day who did have nothing but a jump knife. You run across somebody who had been killed, and you take his weapon, and that's how you get a weapon.
Quite a confused situation, but we were better prepared for it than the Germans were.
These guns were pointed and firing right down on the beach.
This battery of 105s was placed precisely where it should be. As you sit back years later on and look at it, you think, oh, this was laid out exactly right. We thought we knew where every foxhole was in Normandy. The Germans had moved in there and camouflaged us so well, we didn't know it was there.
We worked our way down through the farm area to a hedgerow, and Lieutenant Winters had us set up a firing position.
Up to scout it for myself. I could see a trench, and I thought I knew where our machine gun was. I divided the group into 2 units. Lieutenant Compton was with me. And as you throw your grenades, I'll charge up with the rest of the guys.
I get out to this hedgerow, and I see a couple of Germans over here about poking this gun and firing it. So I pull out a hand grenade and I pull the pin on it and I threw it as high and as far as I could throw it. About the time it got to them, it went off in the air and I got one of them.
We charged so that we all jumped into the first position.
And they worked them Germans like a dose of salt.
We cut them down.
I was in the trench and I looked and I saw an arm and one of those potato masher, and that thing fell right down in that trench with me. And I felt like it blowed my butt over my head.
He's behind the enemy lines. Does he holler help? He hollers, "I'm sorry, Lieutenant. I'm sorry. I goofed."
I felt like I kind of let him down, but
it's beautiful when you think of a guy who is that dedicated to his company that he apologizes for getting hit. That's the kind each one of them was. They were all the same.
Oh.
Respect I can't describe. Each one of them proved himself. If I had done a little bit better job, there would have been a couple more men going home.
I never thought I'd get through D-Day. I thought I was going to get killed instantly. As the parachute, I got that done in Edinburgh, Scotland, 1944. Me and Johnny Martin.
Well, Garnier and I decided we'd go to Scotland and get a tattoo. We didn't figure we had a chance to come home.
Oh.
But, yeah, we're 50% not gone now. It's a long haul.
Replacements.
Normandy after about 33 days, and we were the replacements.
There were young kids that came in, and for some reason, I don't know why, they were the first ones killed.
We were in awe of them. They were wearing infantry badges, uniform. They had a star on their jump wings. They were like heroes to us, you know. That's how we looked at them.
I got right there to where I didn't want to be friendly. I didn't like to see them get killed. It just tore me up. I don't know why, but they were the first ones killed.
My 10-man squad that I was in, 8 were replacements. Sergeant Muck and Corporal Pinkella. Well, they'd been to Normandy. We had not. And then the training got really tough between there and the Holland jump. It was training.
Market garden.
The drop was perfect. It was a mass drop. Everybody was dropping on the same field.
Daytime drop's a lot easier.
And all this equipment's raining down. And if you get hit with this, you're going to be killed or wounded before you get off the drop zone.
Our mission was first to take a bridge over the Wilhelmina Canal.
It took us hours to get there.
Just as we got to it, I was maybe 150 yards away. It blew up in our faces.
These rocks and timbers were flying, and they're falling all around you. What a way to die in combat, to be killed with a flying timber.
But once we got in, the Dutch, it was just marvelous. Their reaction. They loved Americans and still do.
I mean, you're under German occupation for 4 years, and you see paratroopers come out of the sky on Sunday morning. Who are they? They're the angels.
Their welcome was unbelievable. How happy they were to see you.
And it was hard to even get down the streets.
And they hugged you and kissed you, and we didn't mind.
We didn't mind.
Trying to clean out the town because snipers did some damage in a situation like that.
We're sitting right on the Rhine River, and Germany's right across the river, you know.
They could observe any movement we made during the daytime.
I heard something coming down. I knew what it was. Mortar shell, and I threw my arm up like that. And it went through my arm and hit me in the head, and I was bleeding pretty good.
Of course, when you get to the top, you don't expose yourself. When I peeked over, I see a hand there with a potato masher, and he threw it at me.
I didn't know that's what that was called.
It bounced off my helmet. I hollered out to the guys below.
I know I'd have either had my head blown off or I would have definitely been blind, because I just got turned just part way and it exploded, and then it caught me in the face, neck. The first doctor that really counted the holes said there was 32.
That was our first experience with artillery.
Wham! And the 88 was the fiercest cannon. It was an all-purpose gun. It could shoot anti-aircraft, tanks, anti-personnel.
The physical exhaustion affects their endurance to be able to cope, being absolutely miserable for 70 days straight. We didn't realize at that point that you're only going to be off the line for a few days and you're going to be facing Bastogne.
Bastogne. I really like how they're walking us through.
To turn the tide of this whole war.
It is Bastogne, though. It is. This is the Jack's Woods. It is the woods.
Wow.
Sure looks different now. There ain't no snow.
Wow. Like, to actually be here.
Oh, this is definitely the area. This is definitely.
Especially for Garnier, because this is where he got hit.
Because we'd come in here and go to sleep. We had our foxholes right over
Yeah, because I remember that he had the conversation with Eugene. This was the first time we heard him being called Babe. He's like, you called me Babe?
You just dove in the hole and just pray. That's it. If it comes in, you ain't going to know it. To me, it brings a lot of memories. The men, the times, good and bad. A lot of memories.
It was the most miserable place I've ever been in my life, even today. On a real cold night, my wife will tell you that the first thing I'll say is, I'm glad I'm not in Bastogne.
The Germans wanted to get Bastogne.
318 trucks come in around noontime. Everybody was loaded and moving.
We didn't have enough ammunition. We didn't have enough warm clothes. We had confidence that our higher military authorities would get to us whatever we needed.
As it worked out, there's some men actually got on the trucks and left for Bastogne and didn't have a rifle.
When we got there, we saw men singly and in twos without equipment. Some of them were terrified.
They were beat to a nub, and every one of them were telling us they're going to kill everybody. They're running over everybody.
They said they couldn't be stopped.
We went out of town, we started taking up their weapons and their ammunition.
You could hear the firing going on up ahead, and we're marching towards it with hardly any ammunition.
We didn't have no winter clothing or nothing. That's where a third of the doggone casualty was either frostbite or trench foot or whatever you want to call it.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
we set up our positions around the fringe of the woods.
In Belgium, the trees are planted. They don't grow like they do in Maine.
Oh, that
you look
explains
down
why
the
they're so
road and you can
perfect.
see half Germans knew right where we were.
To an infantryman in wartime, the Mother Earth is your best friend. You can always dig a hole and get out of sight, you know. We dug plenty of those.
You'd be surprised how quick you can get through that hard ground when somebody's shooting at you and them shells will fall. Now, you can make fast work of it.
We said we became experts on foreign European soil. We dug in.
In the ground is frozen, it takes quite a while.
You just chip it out.
We were surrounded. The Germans were about maybe 100 yards away from us.
You could see artillery flashes. So we knew from that.
I'm not sure you're the same for the rest of your life after you live through them.
One of the guys got hit in the arm with a piece of shrapnel, took his arm off. They were taking him out. He said, "Get my wristwatch off my arm." That always stayed with me. I calm voice and everything, get my wristwatch off my arm.
Calm voice.
They were letting us have it. Everything.
I mean, I was scared, but I think I was petrified then.
I jumped into a foxhole that somebody had started. About my nose up was above the ground. I could see all these shells hitting.
Sergeant Garnier lost a leg, and Joe Torrey lost a leg in the same place right there on one.
Joe got caught not near his hole, and Bill and I were ahead of him, and he came up out of his hole quickly, and we were still under heavy fire.
Joe said, "What do I have to do to die?" I went out to see what I could do for him. Bongo, I got it too.
I went over to Garnier, sitting on the ground. His leg was badly mangled. He was holding his leg, and it was jerking like that. He said, "Lip, they got old Garnier this time." He had been hit before, but they really got him there.
Put him on stretchers, and
I better not talk about it.
Yeah, because this
Better
is...
not talk about it. They're terrible.
We had lost some very good men. Toy and Garnier had lost their legs. They're a difficult situation there.
We felt glad for them. We felt happy for them. He had a ticket to get out of there, and maybe a ticket to go home. We're glad that he found peace.
I have the honor to present the Supreme Commander, General Eisenhower. Never before has a full division been cited by the War Department in the name of the President for gallantry in action. Of the 101st Airborne Division and of Bastogne.
The Germans had started to surrender. They still had their arms. And our job is to get to the end and get to the heart of it. Berchtesgaden, it's the retreat that Hitler had for himself. And he built his eagle's nest to, I'm sure, relax and confer with his. This was their final retreat. And of course, this is where they had their loot as well.
It was a beautiful country. He knew how to pick out a good spot for a house. Took over his house and liberated it, you might say.
Liberated it.
Obviously.
I was a pack rat anyway. I picked up a lot of German.
He's so proud of it.
Postcards and envelopes.
I was a pack rat anyway.
Rembrandt and all those people, you know, and hanging on the wall.
Focused on art. Rembrandt.
1,200
The art collection.
worth untold millions.
Well, that's good. It's gonna go back to their rightful owners. I can't believe he had an art collection.
And we took it all and set up a bar.
So we stayed pretty well oiled for a while.
Oh, that champagne was good.
See, that's what got them into trouble in episode 10.
And I had seen the Holocaust. And I had seen what the Germans had done to the Jewish race, and I'd seen what they had done to displaced persons, and what they had done in their occupation of France. Nobody has ever taken the time to tell you how to handle a surrender. Well, here we are, we got it. Now, how do you handle this?
Well, that's true. I mean, we spent so much time training this is how you fight, this is how you do this, but that's a very valid point. How do you handle a surrender?
They didn't drag down, you know, or nothing like that. Came down as defeated soldiers.
As the war went along, we found out also that it wasn't the Germans per se. It was the SS. The regular German soldier was not that way.
Oh, Patty! I knew he had to be just so sweet.
We might have had a lot in common. We might have liked to fish, you know, he might have liked to hunt. Of course, they were doing what they were supposed to do. Under different circumstances, we might have been good friends.
I have a great deal of respect for them as soldiers. They were very good soldiers, but they're still enemy, so they must be controlled as prisoners. I was assigned this major, and when he walked in, he presented me this pistol, offered his personal surrender. I accepted, so that would be the end of the war for his men. This is basically the end of the war for my men. And the significance is that it wasn't until later, when he had given me this pistol and I had a chance to look at it, that I realized this pistol had never been fired. There was no blood on it.
Wow.
With an agreement with no blood on it. And I assure you, this pistol has never been fired since I've had it.
Oh.
We didn't come home and flout ourselves. I didn't come home and, I was a war hero or anything. I just come home and went back to look like we did before then.
Like, I wonder, like...
I think it was difficult for most fellas coming back.
I became an industrial arts teacher and a social studies teacher.
A letter carrier for 37 years.
I built homes. I went into construction. I went into hard work.
I ended up working on the waterfront.
And I went with the CIA in Washington.
Got a job working for Nixon Nitration Works. I was making $75 a week.
And the families have gathered together for annual reunions. That is so amazing. Oh.
And I want to extend the best wishes to all the men from Company E506. I love you. God bless you all. Thank you.
Just to give us a chance to get together and talk to each other. We
That is so
relive
sweet.
some of the great respect and you might say affection that you get when you've lived through many dangerous situations together.
That bond's still there. The bond you can't explain.
There's an intimacy develops like nothing that I've ever experienced anywhere, not in college, not in with any other group of people.
We're a strange bunch of dudes, as far as I'm concerned, to be this close after all these years.
I'm back in my youth now. When I get to these guys, I'm back when I went to service.
We had a lot of real good times. My family didn't know anything about it.
So, but he started talking about it just in the last 5 or 6 years. It was like that was another life, as he was another person.
I really admire my daddy. He's a good guy. He's a real strong guy. Been to France and to that cemetery. It's just incredible. There's crosses upon crosses upon crosses and just lined up perfect.
I said, this guy here died at age 19 or 20. A whole life, never lived.
When I went there, I said, Dad, my gosh, Dad, you were so lucky. And he looked at me and he said, yeah, I'm very lucky. And he started crying.
These guys have been with each other in the absolute base experiences of human existence. They were there with each other. I admire that. It held my father even on his tombstone as Sergeant.
Joe Toy's dad, that's his son.
Am I a little proud of having once served in that outfit? You bet your life. I wore that eagle on my right shoulder.
Heroes have crosses over their heads, the ones that are buried in the cemeteries.
How would you like to be a mother or a father whose son never come back?
I don't believe there's very, very, very few heroes that came back from the war.
The memories of a question my grandson asked me the other day. Grandpa, were you a hero in the war? Grandpa said no, but I served in a company of heroes.
Aww.
Bridget of Flynn.
Okay.
Bridget of Flynn, where have you been? If you know anyone that owns a canoe.
I thought that was a well-rounded documentary that just reiterated everything that we have been watching through Band of Brothers, but it made it more meaningful to hear it from the men who were there, to hear it from their account. I think seeing the documentary tied to the episodes, it just glued everything nicely together that we've been experiencing. It was just so wonderful to see all the real men that we've been watching the last 10 episodes, but to see them, to hear them speak, to see their personalities. Some of them were mad spot on. Garnier, hilarious, just hilarious, like in Popeye. So I loved it. Plus, I'm a sucker for a good documentary, and it was a great documentary. I just loved it. That'll be my final take. Is just it glued all of the pieces together. Thumbs up. Band of Brothers Squad. And I thought that the reunion each year, that is just the sweetest thing ever. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. Go ahead and tap that bell so you don't miss any more of my videos. If you'd like to see more content, click on one of these over here. Until next time, guys.